In keeping with his commitment to the tenets of checks and balances and separation of powers emphasized by the renewed help administration of the President of Nigeria, His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, the Honorable Minister of Works, His Excellency Senator Engineer Wednesday David Umahi CON, led the critical departments of his ministry to honor the invitation of the Senate Committee on Finance on an interactive session in respect of the funding of critical roads and NPCL funding and infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme held at the conference room of the Senate on 22nd day of February 2024. As part of the powers of oversight by the National Assembly, the Senate Committee on Finance, ably chaired by distinguished Senator Mohammed Sani Musa CON, invited the Federal Minister of Works to ascertain the level of performance of the funding of the road projects captured under the tax credit scheme. The rationale behind the creation of the federal government's Executive Order number 007 of 2019, passed by the past administration, and the constitutionality of the Executive Order, having regard to Section 80 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. As part of his remarks, the Senate Committee Chairman said, "We need to know the beneficiaries of that tax credit and the extent of the job that they have done today. Having said that, going also by what you said, funds should all come to the Federation account. Appropriation is a different thing. Road is not the only problem we have in the country. We equally have challenges with health and others. And so when this money comes into the pool, the Federation account, we can now appropriate accordingly." The subject of discussion, as it were, provoked different points of conversations by the distinguished committee members, after which the Honorable Minister of Works was given the floor to address the concerns raised by the committee members. He gave an overview of the structure and the status of the tax credit scheme, as well as the philosophy behind the creation of the Executive Order, which, according to the Honorable Minister, was a product of the decision by the National Economic Council under the past administration, designed to fill the funding gap in the road infrastructure development through front-loading of tax by private sector to fund eligible road projects. According to the Honorable Minister, this scheme would incentivize the private sector to participate in the efficient and effective development of roads across economic corridors and industrial clusters, which provide value for money. A program which has so far attracted funding for about 85 highway projects is receiving funding from Dangote Industries, Nigerian Liquid Natural Gas Limited, NLNG, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, MTN Nigeria Telecommunications Limited. He also spoke on the ministry's efforts in scoping the projects and making sure that the designs comply with the world's best standard. He added that aggressive supervision was helping in ensuring quality delivery of projects across the nation. The minister gave an example of Benin-Warri Road being done under the credit scheme and explained the innovations introduced by the ministry under him to bring enduring solutions to the road failure.
Then we now have from Benin to Warri. That's where some of your projects are listed. And if we look at the documents we submitted, we analyzed the projects zone by zone. And so we also looked at the nature of the roads from Benin to Warri. It's also a very terrible situation. So we began to fight with the contractors. And I said there is no amount of asphalt to use on this road that will stand. So what we did was to say, okay, excavate all the soil up to 1 meter depth, fill back with 500 lumps, fill back with 400 stand, and then now go back to fill with stone base. Arrange it for traffic to be on it. After 30 days, then you put additional 10 cm stone base, that is maybe 5% cement. And then you have to use concrete.
He also said that the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, PIDF, was established for other strategic and critical projects that are capable of carrying average daily traffic of 10,000 vehicles per day, including Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano Highway, according to the Honorable Minister.
Mr. President has just approved that the critical projects under PIDF be funded. I'm still pushing that the president's directive should be, money should be released, and that is Abuja to Kaduna, to Zaria, then to Kano is very key and very important to Mr. President. But I have issue with Julobeja, and I've just set up a committee to go and jointly review, because the action as of January for 1.5 trillion for that 375 kilometer dualized. And for me, it was not justifiable.
The distinguished senators were generally happy with the explanations given by the Honorable Minister of Works on the importance of the tax credit scheme, Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, the funding performance so far, and why it may not come as an appropriation, being that the funds are still the money in the hands of the private sector, loaded for some years in future. The senators spoke in turn, starting from the former Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, His Excellency Senator Mohammed A. Alero, who spoke in defense of the tax credit scheme. According to him,
it came because of the infrastructural deficit we have in the country, which budgetary provision cannot, be enough to meet it. If we continue budgeting the way we are budgeting, believe me, it will take us 30 to 40 years before we can complete road rehabilitation or repairs. And the only way we can do it is to look for extra funding. And to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Chairman, distinguished fellow minister, the state governors were fully involved in this tax credit scheme. There was a meeting between the president and the governors, and the president told them that we have a very serious infrastructural deficit in the country, and the only way we can attend to it is to use tax credit. And they all agreed.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, in his concluding remarks, said
that the committee will look at all what we have heard from you and make our decisions. But based on what we have heard from you, we are convinced that the tax credit policy of the federal government is a welcome initiative, which is worthwhile. And we believe that every exigency has a purpose for which that period needs, and that is what called for the presidential order. And what we will appeal to both NNPC, Federal Ministry of Works, and the contractors is to make sure that those projects are completed.
with this wonderful executive legislature understanding and reciprocity in tackling the economic challenges facing the country, one can be sure that the administration of Mr. President is on the steady path of bringing economic prosperity to our country. Signed, Honorable Barrister Orji Uchenna Orji, Special Advisor to the Honorable Minister of Works and Media.